Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sara Jane, and I am delighted this evening because that's what it is for me. I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Dennis Richards. Dennis, thank you so much for agreeing to join us today.
It's my pleasure. It's great to be here.
Dennis is going to be sharing Create the Life of Your Dreams with Breathwork, Quantum Regression, and Integration Therapy. So I think we've got a lot of information that we're going to learn this evening, or this evening as far as I'm concerned, I should say today. But let me introduce you to Dennis first. Dennis Richards is a passionate guide to spiritual awakening and personal transformation. Despite struggling with depression for years, even after training as a counselor and hypnotherapist, Dennis's life took a profound turn when he discovered the power of breathwork, quantum regression, and integration therapy. Now, as the founder of Lighten Up Coaching UK, Dennis helps individuals break free from limiting beliefs and to elevate their consciousness on the journey to ascension. With a keen intuition for identifying and shifting personal blocks, he brings rapid change where traditional methods have fallen short. Driven by values of truth and integrity, Dennis is dedicated to helping people achieve their dreams by raising their vibration and aligning with their true potential. Whether you're a seasoned seeker or new to the path of personal development, Dennis offers a guiding hand to anyone ready to embrace transformation. Dennis, thank you again for agreeing to join us today. Please, I know we've shared a little in your bio, but please share sort of a little more of your story and sort of how this all came about for you.
Well, my journey on the path of personal development and spiritual development goes back to when I was a student at Oxford University and struggling to concentrate. And I expect if ADHD had been invented then, I would have been a prime candidate to be diagnosed with that. But I was sent to a psychiatrist who said, "Oh, you're depressed, take these tablets." And things got better for a little while, and then they got worse. And I managed to get a reasonable degree and started a PhD, but took the depression with me. I saw another psychiatrist who said, "Oh, yes, you're depressed, take these tablets." And it wasn't a lasting solution. It was a temporary solution to a long-standing problem. And there was a real change when I saw an advert in Private Eye for a personal development week in the Brecon Beacons with a quite a famous psychotherapist called John Rowan. And he is passed away now, but he was a founder member of the Association for Humanistic Psychology. And I went along, not ever having done any therapy before, and I did Gestalt dream work, I did primal therapy, co-counseling, encounter, meditation, Tai Chi, a real immersion into this world of alternative therapies, and it just blew my mind. I had a peak experience that week and felt the oneness of everything, and it's really started my quest. And it didn't solve my problem. I still had depression when I went back, but I'd seen light at the end of the tunnel. I knew there was a way through this if I could only find it. And unfortunately, I didn't find it in time to finish my PhD. I dropped out and moved to London, and it was quite a while before I had spiritual experiences. My first awakening was through using something called the Jesus Prayer, which I found in a book in the house I was in, and reciting this prayer, Lord Jesus, Son of God, forgive me, and reciting this over and over again. Something started to move within me, and I started going to churches. I was working as a dispatch rider in London, actually. I would go into different churches and feel the atmosphere, and finished up going to an evangelical rally with Luis Palou from Argentina and having an conversion experience, which led me to joining a church, Baptist church, and it was another spiritual awakening. Although it didn't answer all my questions. I was still searching. I was starting to explore other faiths as well, and finished up becoming a preacher in the Methodist Church. And it was while I was a preacher in the Methodist Church that I started having what I thought were past life experiences. Things coming up I couldn't explain, and I read lots of books about past lives. I went to America. I went to Seattle and did a past life regression, and that took me on a totally different path. And yeah, I could go on. It's been quite a journey.
But isn't it a journey for all of us? So we take different things. It's and different techniques, different practices, raise different questions, bring different answers. It's a journey for us all. So share a little bit about the breathwork, the quantum regression, the integration therapy, because I'm guessing that they're three different things, but
no, they're two things. Though. Okay, all right. So to fill in the gaps a little bit, I trained as a counselor, and I was doing a lot of really good work with my clients and getting lots of good results. And yet I was still struggling with this depression myself. And sometimes I felt a fraud, like I want to help people, and yet I can't help myself. And then I went along to an event in Wales near me called Conscious Camp, which has all kinds of workshops and music and yoga, and took part in a group breathwork session. Now, I had done breathwork in America. I'd done holotropic breathwork, which takes you into an altered state, and you do basically hyperventilate for 2 to 3 hours. But this was different. This was very cathartic. It took me into my feelings, and then I was able to discharge them and felt a great load had lifted through the space of an hour or so. Doing this breathwork technique, which is called sovereignty breathwork, and it involves a breath in into the abdomen like that, and then a relaxed breath out. And that joining the in-breath and the out-breath, so there are no gaps. So it's called connected breathing, and just allowing what needs to happen. And this activates any trauma that you have. Anything of a low vibration is activated when you raise your vibration with the breath work. And so that trauma comes to the surface, it's discharged, and it's discharged permanently. You don't have to keep doing this. It's not a technique to manage your feelings, it's a technique to transform them. And then I started to really feel the difference and have more joy in my life. And after a number of sessions doing this, I decided I want to bring this to other people. So I'm at this moment completing my training in sovereignty breathwork.
So what about the quantum regression then? Because you talked about having had the past life regression session. So quantum regression, what is that?
Quantum regression and integration therapy. It's a mouthful, but it's usually abbreviated to QRIT. It was developed by Luke Scott, goes by the name Luke Scott III. And it's a synthesis of elements of hypnotherapy, experiential therapy, quantum healing, and put together in, well, there are different techniques, but the main technique is 11 steps that you go through with the client. And it's using the imagination to access whatever is the cause of the symptoms the client is experiencing. So there's no long induction like hypnotherapy. We just take some deep breaths to get into into the quantum field where you can change things at the fundamental level. And then use the imagination to visualize what the problem is and transform it. And the regression is something that happens naturally if it needs to. So I've had early childhood, when I was a client, early childhood experiences come up. I've had past life experiences on other planets come up. And I mean, you don't have to believe in any of these things. You just have to experience or be willing to experience whatever comes up for you. And it can deal with ancestral trauma, past life trauma, anything's passed down through the bloodline. So it goes really quite deep, and deeper than I was going with hypnotherapy, although there are I was doing great regression work with hypnotherapy. So this just adds another dimension to it.
Yeah, I think of it as being down to like a cellular memory level.
That's true, yeah. And even further than that, down to the individual strands of DNA.
Yeah, because we got so much within us, and our body does speak to us. It's just a matter of whether we can understand what it's saying.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about okay, so you've got the symptoms, you've got what's happening, but it's for me, it's the body just trying to say there is an area potentially of your life or potentially a past life or ancestral that is to be looked at. It's time to work with that. That's the sense I get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are a couple of books out there called The Healing Power of Illness, and illness is a message from the body that there's something going on, as you say, that needs to be looked at. And so when we focus on that with the imagination, we can actually ask the body, what's happening? What are you trying to say to me? Yeah, and explore that.
So I'm guessing that with what you're doing, it potentially can show you, if it's to do with trauma, sort of a situation or a time in your life that so that you know what you're working with, or is it something that, I don't know, it's very difficult because you hear these people say, oh, you don't have to remember anything, we can clear that. And I'm thinking, I'm not convinced about that personally, but remembering, being aware of things that have happened to us in our lives. And if we just, for the minute, stick with the life we're living, and the majority of people have experienced some sort of trauma. And there are so many different things that can cause trauma. And it's just, for me, especially if it's when you're a child, the child doesn't know how to deal with that trauma. So it just gets buried because there is no way to deal with it. And so that's what the illnesses, the ailments, the strains are. It's just the body saying, it's time, you now have in a position to be able to deal with this. Will you please deal with it? And
Mm.
so it's supporting yourself to heal and to start the healing process of what happened in your earlier years.
Yes, and it's not really the trauma that's the problem. It's our response to the trauma. What did we decide about ourselves or the world as a result of that trauma? What limiting beliefs did we adopt that have programmed our whole life? And just the insight into that can be tremendously freeing. And if there is still feelings which are unresolved, then allowing those to come to the surface and feeling them, but because we couldn't feel them at the time, they seemed too immense, too threatening to the ego. And in a safe environment, those feelings can be felt and released. And that's where the healing comes from.
Oh, 100%. You've almost taken the words out of my mouth. Because yes, there are the traumas, but how did they actually make us feel? It's the feelings that are the problem, if you like. Because, sort of just thinking about my own story, the way it left me feeling unwanted, unloved, not good enough, unworthy, every negative thing you can think about.
All the core wounds.
Oh, it's really, and yes, folks, you can heal from it. I promise you, you can heal the inner child. But you've got to be prepared to get involved in the process, haven't you? You have to be involved in the process.
Yeah, being open to experiencing what's behind anything that you're trying to shift. And this goes for things like wealth as well. When we're trying to manifest an income or a sum of money, if we still have those limiting beliefs that we're not worthy, not good enough, not perfect, then the message we're sending out to the universe is, don't give me anything. I'm not good enough to receive. And both breathwork and QRIT can clear those limiting beliefs and allow money to flow. Money is just energy. Allow that energy to flow into our lives.
I think some of the teachings, certainly around a thing called money, is that it's, especially if you were brought up in certain religions, it was the money, the root of all evil. And it's just like, money is a thing that people can use. It is not that is evil. It can do so much good. But yes, there's no two ways about it. It depends on how people use it.
Yeah, and the biblical text actually says the love of money is the root of all evil. If your life is devoted to money, then yes, it will cause problems. But if your life is devoted to service and you need money to do it, then the money will come once those limiting beliefs are removed.
And you put yourself in a situation where you trust the universe, which I've been doing for years. Because things will come when they're meant to. It's trusting that. We may have a sort of a sequence of events in our own head. Sort of, this is going to happen then, and then. And it won't happen like, if you're lucky, it'll happen like that. But it's unlikely to happen like that. It'll happen in what they refer to as divine timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's trusting the whole process. The layers of the onion is how they refer to, isn't it? The healing process. Because it's not a matter of taking it all away in one go. It's not a matter of healing it all in one go. It's taking it one bit at a time. And I don't know about you, but I think the onion is a perfect thing, because when you cut into an onion, it makes you cry.
Yeah, exactly. Multi-layered and makes you cry.
Yeah, absolutely. But the tears can be so healing.
Yeah. Of course, the important thing is not to get stuck in that pain. A lot of therapy just brings up the pain and you sit with it session after session without moving through it. So it's learning the lesson that pain has got to teach you and then letting it go, because you don't need it.
No, you really don't. You sort of said, as before we sort of came on, that you potentially got a sort of a short sort of like exercise that you could share with us.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm going to do a quantum regression and integration short exercise, which you can use to upgrade any area of your life. So whether it's a physical issue, a mental, emotional issue, or something you want to attract in your life, and you can upgrade your life in any area. So, are we ready? If you're watching this live or even on the recording, you want to make yourself comfortable, you can be sitting or lying down. And we're going to be closing our eyes. So ideally, a place where you're not going to be distracted. And so let's begin by closing the eyes, just so we're not distracted by things around. And just take a deep breath into the belly. And out again. And just watch that sweet spot between the in-breath and the out-breath, the place of nothing. And the same again. And one more, noticing that quiet spot between the in-breath and the out-breath. And let's set an intention that this session will end in a beautiful way. And that whatever happens will be for your highest good and the highest good of all. And now I'd like you to imagine surrounding yourself with the purest love that you can imagine. Some people like to think of it as divine love, or the love of a parent, or the love you have for someone else. Surrounding yourself in that love. You may see a color, or you may just feel the presence. And now just call to mind the issue that you'd like resolved in your life, you'd like to know more about. And as you think of that issue, just do a little scan of your body to see if it's located in a particular place in your body. And then just notice if it has a color associated with it. If it had a color, what color would it be? It's usually the first thing that comes to mind. So it could be a pain, a tension, an emotion in your body. When I ask you a question, the first thing that comes to mind is invariably what we're looking for. And we're giving the conscious, the rational mind a bit of a holiday here, using the imagination. So this pain, this tension, this emotion with the color, which may have a color, does it have a shape? And does it have a texture? And now, I'd like you to imagine breathing in that love, that bubble of love you've surrounded yourself with, breathing in that love into that shape, that texture, that color, allowing it to dissolve, and breathing out those dissolved particles so they form a cloud in front of you. Breathing in the love. Breathing out the dissolved particles, forming a cloud. And within the next 3 breaths, you'll find that shape, that color, that texture completely dissolve, leaving just that cloud in front of you like smoke. And with the next breath, I invite you to blow that cloud away, to go off into the universe, to the highest and best place for it to be transformed. And you may see a figure in front of you. If you're not a person who visualizes, you may sense a presence. Just note who that is. Do they have a message for you today? Do they have a gift for you? Do they have some insight into your problem? And they may show you a scene from your life, just like watching a movie. Something from your past that's relevant to what you're investigating today. And just watch that scene. And sometimes it can be something really nice. Sometimes it can be something quite difficult. But you can change it any way you like. You can remake the past. As we remake the future, you can remake the past and change it any way you want to change it. You can invite other beings into your scene, whether they're spirit guides or angels, ascended masters, people in your life, to bring healing to whatever scene has come up for you. And then when you're ready, just let that scene fade away, bringing with you any insights, any decisions you made that you might want to change, anything that you decided that you'd like to change, you can change. And go back to that figure who was showing you the scene. How are they now? What's their energy like? Do they have anything further to add? And going back to that place in your body where you notice that feeling, that color, that texture. How does that feel now? Is there a feeling you'd like to replace that part of your body, whatever that part of your body was feeling? What would you like to embrace? Is it joy? Is it peace, love, abundance? So allow that to flow into that part of your body now, whatever you'd like to experience going forward. And if there's anything you'd like to release now, to let go of that no longer serves you, allow that to be released now. If there's anything that needs to be burnt up and transformed, it's good to invite the violet flame of Saint Germain to come and burn anything up that no longer serves you. Be transformed into love. And before we complete this process, it's always good to visit the highest and best version of you. I'd like you to imagine a white door behind which is the highest and best version of you. Just open that door and see the you that knows everything, has developed the superpowers. What advice do they have for you? And if there's any qualities this version of you don't have now that you'd like, download them just like you download something to your computer. Just ask for them to be transferred to you now. Upgrading every cell in your body, every strand of DNA. Every cell having that little smile on its face, if it had a face. And when you're ready, say goodbye to this highest and best version of you. Just check in with your body, how that's feeling now. And we ask that these changes be integrated with ease and grace, and that the healing you've experienced apply across all planes of reality, all timelines, all directions of space and time, all past lives, all future lives. Releasing any oaths or vows that no longer serve you. And healing completely down to your cellular level and DNA structure. And so it is. If there's any actions you need to take as a result of this process, you may want to write them down when we reach the conclusion in a few moments. So just feel your bottom of the chair or whatever you're lying on, feet on the floor. Preparing to open your eyes, giving your hands and your feet a little wiggle. When you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back.
Thank Thank you so much for that. Folks, if anybody wants to share in the chat, please do. If you wish to connect with Dennis, I'll share his website in a second. Please do. And I'm sure that if you share what you experienced, just very briefly, I had a childhood experience where I ended up in hospital, including my first birthday, for 3 months. That was a time parents weren't allowed to stay with their children. The reality for me was I saw them once a week for an hour. So it was a very dark time for me. And as much as I've done masses of work with the little one, and she is very content. There's the onion we were talking about.
Yeah.
It was very much, there was still something there, and all I got was black. There was no shape, there was no feeling, there was black. And it was just like, okay, I guessed where I was immediately. Sort of, it was just totally accepting that. But seriously, the love that was surrounding me from my guides, my guardians, the energies were phenomenal. They really were. And when you sort of talked about the higher self, the perfect self, I don't know about white, but I don't visualize things, but I just got this sense of gold.
Gold. We sometimes use gold, yes. Whatever color works. Yes.
Gold everywhere, and it was just like, okay, I think I know who the individual was, but I'm a great believer in that there are times when I receive downloads that I'm unaware of.
Oh yeah.
And so I trust that whatever I was meant to receive through that, I did. I can't tell you what it was because I don't know. And so I suppose the reason for me sharing is if people were thinking, but I don't know whether I'm getting anything, never doubt that you receive from these, whether you call it a meditation, these exercises, never doubt that you receive.
Even if you fall asleep, you can still experience and receive what you need.
100%, but you don't have to necessarily know what it is.
No.
And so that's, I suppose, why I've shared. It's because it's really important that you think, but I don't know whether I got anything. Maybe you weren't and aren't at this point in time meant to know about it.
I've done a lot of work using a recording of a QRIT session. I get something different every time. The same recording takes me somewhere else, and I just get so much benefit from it. And of course, in a one-to-one session, it's interactive. So I'd be asking you, well, what do you see? What's happening? What's going on in your body? And we can really go together into the experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm just trusting the whole process.
Yeah.
So we are actually coming very close to time. Let me put the website up. So please, folks, if you really are feeling drawn to learning more, please do go to the website. And if you're watching this from the video on YouTube, then please, I will put I'll put this under the video as well. So please do connect with. I've been into the website and I've taken that from the top of the bar, so yes, to make sure that it's correct. But so Dennis, I know we've touched on a bit, and that was amazing. Anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to share?
Yes, as well as working one-on-one, I love doing retreats. And in the space of 4 days, it's amazing the transformation people go through, because we can do several breathwork sessions. We can do 1 or 2 group QRIT sessions. I also bring in working with dreams, and dreams are wonderful for accessing the subconscious and the superconscious mind to really find out, what your purpose is, and also anything that needs healing. And use a bit of art therapy as well to access the imagination. And I just love them. And it's amazing what happens. And the changes people make afterwards, such as changing career, finding a new passion and following it.
Oh, yeah, I'd say many of us have changed career from sort of the work that we do for ourselves. But creativity, tapping into our creativity, which to me is tapping into the child.
Mm-hmm.
Our child was so creative until such time as it was almost, no, you're no good at that, you're no good at that. And it was so negative energy around things.
Yeah. Well, it's good to revisit that creative child in a supportive environment where there is no judgment. And whatever you create it's not really how good it is. It's how expressive it is of your soul.
It's how it makes you feel. It's just allowing, and for me, it's about, allow color. Lots of color, because our lives so require to be more colorful. Why I tend to like to wear color.
Yes, and you mentioned just that you just saw black. So it would be interesting to try mentally throwing some color on there and see what happens.
Get a paint pot.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, no, Dennis, thank you so very much. It's been wonderful, and it's something sort of new to me, which is brilliant, because there are so many sort of gifts out there, different energy healings. And I would always say to anybody, explore, sort of try. You will find the things that resonate with you.
Yeah.
This is what you've done. It's what I've done. It's what so many of us have done. And so just sort of another question in respect of what you call QRIT, quantum regression and integration therapy. Were they two separate things that you brought together, or were they two separate things that somebody else brought together?
Luke Scott, when he was channeling QRIT, he was told it was QRIT before he was told what the letters stood for. And he was told you can cure it with QRIT, and then he was given what the letters stand for. The regression gets to the root of the problem, but it's the integration that then makes the difference in your life. So once you've found those limiting beliefs, and you've decided you're going to change them, you don't believe those, and it's then putting that into practice which brings the fruits.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so very much. And I'm sure there's more information on your website as well. So which is lightenup.coach.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dennis, thank you so very much. It's been a real pleasure.
Me too.
I know I've learned from it. So hopefully others will as well, and they'll get in touch. I really do hope they will. It's healing that younger self at whatever age it is, everything that we've been through and haven't dealt with. I totally get the importance of that. And it's for us to do with support from people like yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much. Next week, we have a today's conversation, empowering the highly sensitive person. Our guest is Anne-Marie Harnett. I hope that you'll think about joining us for that. I hope that you'll revisit the video of this and enjoy that exercise again, because as you said, you'll get different outcomes sort of every time, and you can go to a different place in your body. So I really do hope people will sort of be in touch with you and will use the video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Stay well. Thank you, Dennis. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.